explain to you how this pattern works exactly. All right, now this is was her pattern, and from what I asked her on her comment section, I managed to get the measurements for this piece, you know. Now she gave them all in centimeters, and I converted them, and I also made the adjustments so that it can be made on the 4x4 zoom loom. All right, of course the one that you saw, the one I made, this one was actually done in Tunisian crochet. This is Tunisian crochet, you know. So I mean, you can, of course, if you want, you can take the measurements and use it either to knit. The one that Ruby Stedman did, she knitted it, you know. And it's up to you how you want to do this. But then since this particular video I'm making is all about the zoom loom, this is the back part. Huh? This is the the part where the Tunisian crochet comes out. This is the back part of the Tunisian crochet, and these are the armholes here, you know. See, this is the armhole, as you can see here. This is an armhole. Now I'll show you what the measurements are like in a moment. All right, now here I've drawn a roughly I call it the Ruby Stedman wrap. I think she calls it I can't remember what she called it, but I'll give you a link in the description so you can go check it out. Now the length of each, it's done in 2 pieces, you know. Then you join them join the 2 pieces up after you've completed them. One of them is 52 by 24. Now if you want to do this on a loom, you would probably on the zoom loom, because we are talking about 4-inch squares. Here you've got 24, that means 8. You'd have to do 8. 8 times 3 is 24. So therefore you can get for each 4-inch square, you'll have to do 8 for here, and here there is 13, because 52 divided by 4 is 13. So you'll have to do 13 by 24. One particular rectangle is 52 by 24, and that is 13 times by 8, and that's 104 squares here on the zoom loom. And here the other one, the shorter piece, the one that comes up where you can actually use it like a hood. It's a very interesting, I love the design, you know, because you can use it, you can flap it, fold it over onto your head, or you can fold it down over your arm and give you sort of like a half a sleeve, you know, that kind of like what you call the kind of drop sleeve, you know. It just goes over your arm, you know, because your arm is inside, and this part of it can drape over your arm, so it looks like as if you've got a half sleeve, you know, that covers the top part of your upper arm, you know. And here is 12, which is 3 times 4. 143 squares for this particular pattern. And then after you've completed the squares and you've joined these 2 pieces, what you need to do is you fold this piece half, and you fold half of this. You put a mark in the center, and you join them 17 right from the center, 17 centimeters on this side and 17 centimeters on the other side. I'm not very sure how much that is in inches. Let me just convert that for you, because her pattern was all in centimeters, you know. She was using the metric system. So 17 centimeters is about 6 3/4 of an inch. So 6 3/4 inch, I think it's easier for you to do 17 centimeters this side, 17 centimeters this side. Then you leave a gap of 21 centimeters for the armhole on each side. Then you join back, and that's it. That completes the wrap. You know, it's so easy. The part when I was talking about earlier, here is 24. So 24 divided by 4 is actually 6, you know. So it's here is actually the first part is 13 times by 6 squares is 78, you know. I also wanted to give you the measurements for the sleeve. You can make 2 sleeves for this and attach them to the holes that are here. Just sew the sleeve onto the hole, and for that you can make the sleeves 16 by 20. As always, you have to have something divisible by 4. So 16 is 4 here, 4 squares here, and 5. So 4 times 5 will give you 20 squares. So you have to make another additional 40 squares together with what you've already got here, which is 117 squares. you will need altogether 157 squares. Okay? The fact that you may lose when you join the squares together, you tend to lose some of the some inches, you know. So as a result, I've decided that although it says 52 here and you will need 13 squares for 52 by 6, which will give you 78, you need more, you see. So I went up to 14 by 7 here, which gives you 98 squares. And here I took 3 by again 14, you know, so that's 42. So altogether that's 140 squares that you will have to do. And if you want to do some sleeves, you do 16 by 20. That will be 20 squares each. That is 5 times 4 is 20. 20, 20, because 2 sleeves, you need 40 squares. So altogether, you need to do 180 squares if you want to make a sleeved wrap. But if you don't want a sleeved wrap, then you just make 140 squares. Now, after you have joined this, you take the 52 by 24, you make one rectangle and then another rectangle of 52 by 12. And so you've got 2 separate rectangles. You fold them in half. The center point, you put them together and you join them in the center, 17 centimeters from the center mark and another 17 centimeters on the other side. So you get 34 centimeters for center. Then you leave a space of 21 centimeters for the sleeve. Now, if you're going to, for your armhole, but if you're going to add the sleeve, don't join this part yet. Spread it out and then attach the sleeves to both and then join the sides up. Okay, I will do a separate video to show you how to join the sleeves if you're unsure. But if you're just going to do a sleeveless one, then just go ahead and do what I've done here. I wanted to show you how to join the wrap, okay? Now, there are 2 parts to the wrap. There is the shorter part that overlaps, this one, and the longer part that covers your body. Now, when you join it, you have to take the right side of the longer part and join it to the wrong side of the shorter part, because you can get this effect, you see, here. That when they overlap, they both have the right side outside, you know. If you were to join the right side of the bottom to the right side of the top, what happens is the wrong side will then overlap, okay? So remember that, okay? Now let's take the woven pieces and I'll show you how to join them, all right? Now what I've done is that I have no patience to go and sit down and actually sew in every single one of the leftover yarn, the shorter pieces that were here. What I've done is I've done a double overhand knot on them and knotted it up, you know, since they're going to be inside and it's not a sweater, so it wouldn't matter. Now, you take this, the longer one, fold it in half and put a marker on the fold here, all right? Then you take the shorter piece. Okay, this is the shorter part. Again I've done the double overhand. Now this is all the yarn on one side. If you arrange your pieces, your 4x4 pieces, in such a way that all the longer yarn is going upwards, you will then have only one short piece of yarn here and the rest there will be no yarn at the bottom, see, so giving you a smooth finish for one side with all the yarn on the other side. Now you fold it in half again and put a marker. After you do that, what you need to do was, this has to be on the wrong side. You place it there, okay, this is the center part. Take the longer bit, put it here, right? Put the 2 markers together and then measure 17 centimeters from the center here and 17 centimeters from the center there, and join these 34 centimeters together. Join it up, okay?
17 this side, 17 this side, giving you 34 centimeters, and you join it up. Let me pin it and come back. What you need to do is that now that you've put the marker on the side where all the yarn that you can join with is available for you to join, because one side doesn't have the yarn, same for the longer piece, you put it there, this one wrong side, this one right side, okay, this has to be right side, place it there. Then what you do is wrong side and right side, so that when you join it, it will overlap and both the right sides will appear. All right, now place it together, the two markers, measure 17 centimeters on this side, 17 centimeters on the other side, giving you 34 centimeters. All right, 34 centimeters is the part where you join. This is where your neck is, you know. So 34 centimeters, you join them up. I will join it with pins and come back. I've joined the center part here, right? So this is how it will have the effect, okay? When you wear it, this will overlap and the right side will be on the outside together with that. Now, you're supposed to leave 21 centimeters for the sleeve before you join this part back up again. No, that's how it's supposed to be. But don't do that. Spread it out like this. Again, you have all this yarn here that you can use for joining. Don't cut them off. Take one of the sleeves, and the sleeve, what I've done is that I've actually made it 6 by 4. In my pattern, which I originally gave, I actually put 5 by 4 squares, but I found 5 squares is far too short for my long arms, so I had to go ahead with 6, you know, so I can get at least 22 inches. So if you've got shorter arms, you can perhaps manage with 5 squares, but I can't, so I had to do 6 squares. So now this one, you take the center, since there are only 4 squares, the center will be right in the center of that. Join it there, join this part here, and join this part here. All right? This is the easiest way to join a sleeve to something that is straight like this. I'll be back after I've pinned it. The sleeve. Okay, so let's see. This is the sleeve. You have to join the sleeve, the edges of the sleeve up again. If you have left all the longer bits of yarn on one side, you'll be able to do that again, you know. And one side will have nothing. You see, the bottom of the sleeve is clear. There is no yarn there for you to have to use. You can take this, the only one that's there, that will be used for joining from here to here, you know. Now, after you have taken this is the longer part, this is the top part of the overlap here, okay, and this is the sleeve that has been joined. All right, so now you take the leftover part here and join it to the leftover of the bottom. So if you don't want a sleeve, you can just leave this open and you just put your arms through that and you have yourself a wrap, okay? Just join this part up and join the edges of the sleeve together and you have yourself a wrap with sleeves. I hope you try this pattern now and you try this weaving. As you can see, this is actually quite beautiful material when once you've woven it up. Happy weaving.
Bring some points up, you know. Now when you are joining it, make sure that where you join it, you are actually working with the right side, okay? You're working with the right side of the longer piece and the wrong side of the shorter piece. You know, that is the side you sew on. Because when you overlap it, you don't want the stitches to appear. Like here, you see now the stitches don't appear. So make sure that you're doing the join with the longer piece right side above and the wrong side of the shorter piece facing you, and then you join it. That means you do the stitches on this side, all right? So that when you fold it, when the collar comes down, what is exposed is not, you can't see any stitches, or when you tie this part off, it won't be noticeable when you flap it down. Now the other thing is that my flap, you know, the one the shorter piece that I did is not enough for you to wear it as a hood, you know. So if you want to have this as a hood, I've done this in 3 by 14. You'll have to go one extra square. So you have to add another 14 squares to this, you know. Now, originally, I have done altogether 100 and let me see now, because the sleeve has gotten longer by 4 more extra. So actually I had here I had 6 times by 4, which is 24. So instead of 40, I got 8 more squares here, so it's 188. So if you want to add another longer hood so that you can actually use it like a hood over your head, then you're going to have to make this, you have to add another 14 squares to this. So 188 plus another 14 squares, 198, 202. So you'll have to do 202 squares if you want a real hooded wrap, you know. So bear that in mind when you're doing it. Now the other thing is that when you're joining this, you can use the lines of the previous squares so that you get a guide where to join properly, you know. So you can use all the yarn that was left over. They work wonderfully. There's just enough to sew it all up. Okay. Anyway, as I finish this, once I put in the sleeve, I will also show what it looks like. Right now, I've only joined the 2 pieces up. That's all I've done. And excuse me, this is the my allergies are starting up, you know, spring. This is the it's not visible on this side, as you can see, you know. So this is the neck part that I've joined. Oh God, when I was in Malaysia, I never had this problem, you know. All this thing only came when I moved to Europe. All this allergy. Okay.
What I did here was that I extended this to 4 panels, you know, because it wasn't draping properly when I did it at 3 panels. So I had to add another 14 squares to do that. So I think the total went up to about 216, like that. Total number of squares. So anyway, this is up to you entirely how much you want to make the top panel, you know. And this is the bottom panel. And notice that the inner part is where I did all the joining. And here, it is on this side that the joining is, you see. Because like I pointed out before, this one, when you close it, this comes on the outside, you see. So you don't want your joints to be visible. And that I also showed you how to join up the sleeves, no, in the 2 holes, and the way to do it, the easiest way to do it. Okay, happy weaving.